But first, the South African Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for the murder of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp, 3 years ago. Pistorius has always maintained that the killing was accidental and that he shot her dead through the door of his bedroom toilet, mistaking her for a burglar. The judge said she considered Pistorius's fall from grace before handing down her sentence.
He's a fallen hero who has lost his career and is ruined financially. The worst is that having taken the life of a fellow human being in the manner that he did, he cannot be at peace. It came as no surprise, therefore, when both Mr. Nell, his pastor, and Professor Scholes described him as a broken man. Recovery is possible, but it will depend mostly on the accused attitude to the punishment imposed on him.
OK, we can go live now to our correspondent Tania, who's outside the court in Pretoria. He could have got a maximum of 15 years, Tania.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the maximum is far more than that. The minimum is 15 years. That is what the state had argued for. They wanted him behind bars for a long time. They are likely to be unhappy, I think, with this sentence. She's given him 6 years, which is only 1 year more than she gave him for culpable homicide, which she found him guilty of earlier, and which he's already served the minimum term for. Of the 6-year sentence, he's got to serve, we're told by legal experts at the court here, the minimum of a third of the sentence, so about 2 years. That doesn't mean he's getting out in 2 years. That simply means that at that point he could apply for parole. Now, she's given some leeway, of course, for either side to appeal. It's quite possible we will see that because, as I said, the state was pushing for that 15 years, and on the other side of things, Pistorius' defence lawyers had argued that he shouldn't be going to prison at all, that really the best place for him was hospital. But the judge dismissed the evidence of the professor, the psychiatrist, which examined Oscar Pistorius and said that he was suffering post-traumatic stress syndrome, that he was severely depressed, and for all those reasons, you know, he's afraid of going outside, and for those reasons he shouldn't be put behind bars. But the judge said, look, really, murder is a very serious crime, the most serious. He needs to go to prison, and she has determined that 6 years is the appropriate sentence. But of course, a lot of people are unhappy about that here.
And is he likely to appeal?
It is possible, but I think there's always also the possibility in an appeal that then the sentence is increased, so it may not work for them. Perhaps putting the professor forward for him to argue for a non-custodial sentence was a bit of a risk, a bit of a punt. You know, perhaps they didn't ever really think that that was going to happen. We don't know. He has been taken away already, as expected he would be once the sentence was handed down. All eyes and ears trained on the judge as she summarised her sentence and how she arrived at this point. She didn't sum up the main points of the sentence in the trial, she just hit on the main points. She is under a lot of scrutiny herself, of course, because it was this same judge that originally dismissed murder and found him guilty of culpable homicide, so sort of a humbling position for her to be put into, to have that, her conviction overturned and upgraded to murder, and then to be put in the position of coming up with this sentence. I think it was always likely that he would get less than the 15 years. If you deducted from that 15, the 5 he'd already been sentenced, and she was always had the possibility for substantial and you know, compelling reasons to deduct further from that, and I think she took into consideration his disability. She said she believed he'd shown remorse, he'd apologised to the family. She believes that he feels extremely vulnerable on his stumps without his prosthetics, as he was when he thought there was a burglar in his house. He went into the bathroom and he shot 4 times into that toilet.
OK, Tania Page live in Pretoria. Thank you.